Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode Introduction into Architecture. I can't say this word correctly. Visualization. VisCom methods. Uh, what a tongue breaker. Anyway, so in this video, I'm going to show you how we will be able to bring in paper models like human figures to establish scale, other objects, which are actually just two-dimensional, as you can see, but they will be very helpful to explain kind of like the story of what the space is about, because we don't want to model everything. And we also don't really have to 3D model everything. And since this episode is about compositing of our visualizations, this time it worked out, I will also show you, well, how do we figure out correct scales, etc. So instead of using Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, which I don't know if everybody has access to it, I can actually show the same idea in a web version of Photoshop called Photopea. And this has all the tools I need. Very good. Okay, here we are at the beginning of my model. Everything what I showed you, I just removed. We have just the basic scenery setup, the camera and lighting in everything. So we would like to get figures in here, the trees, human figures. Okay, so we need to find everything. We can go to a browser of your choice, and then we type in architecture human figure and do an image search, and you will quite quickly find a lot of these collections. They come in black and white, they come in color, etc. Very good. And for example, let's look for Japanese cherry tree. So there are a lot of interesting trees here and images, and I might actually use something like this from a store and try to capture this off the website. I have actually all the files which we are going to use compacted into a zip file. The download link is inside the description of the video if you would like to download those. Okay, but this is basically the method how I would try to find all these different assets. So here, for example, is the cherry tree. And here is an image with all the people for the cutout. And here is a landscape I would like to put behind. So before we go into Blender, let's go. We have to manipulate actually the images. So you can use Photoshop if you want to, but if you do not have access to it, I found very often for simple tasks, these web interface apps are actually really good. When we go to Photopea, which is free to use, it does exactly the same. Very nice. So I will open from the computer. And here is my tree. Very good. Now I would like to get rid of the white background. To do this, the command in Photoshop, literally every photo editing program is the same. There should be somewhere under selection a color range. Color range, we can then basically, this is the white color. And we try to key this out. So we select the whole white, click OK, and then we press the delete key, and it is empty. Very good. Now we want to crop this image. Click crop, there and there. We can keep the part if we want, or just, we just make it keep it. Okay, press enter. Now we have this image cropped, and now we would like to save this to our computer. PNG. And we, PNG, this is really what we want. Again, not JPEG, because we want that white transparent background, not that white background of a JPEG. And then save, we can give this a name, and it's downloaded. Very good. So let's do, since we are in here, do the same also with a human figure. So you see the process we can use. There's a paper cutout. Thank you. And I will look at this body down here. So I have the crop tool still turned on and press enter. Then here, Alt or Option key, mouse wheel, I can zoom in. Very nice. And then I think with the magic wand, I can click on the white background. There are some artifacts issues. The selection tools aren't as good as in Photoshop, but for this demo, what I would like to show you in terms of process, this is fine. Because again, this is an introduction video, just to give you an idea about the whole process. Now the white area is selected and we would like to invert that selection. There has to be somewhere an invert command. Here it is. Actually undo this, so Control Z or Apple Z. We actually want to delete the background, so press the backspace or delete key. Sorry, now we can go invert. And then here we want this to be black. We can flip the order, go to a brush icon, right click, select the size, and then we turn them black. We make this person black, simply it takes away any distractions. It's just a human figure to establish scale. And maybe via the pause talk about some interactions. But the rest could be rather visual clutter that is more distracting, which is why I removed this. And then to make positioning easy, yeah, I crop this like this. Sorry, your thumb is gone. There. And then this image also here. We will simply save, give this a good name. There we are. So I will call this guy cutout. Also a PNG again, because we want to have the transparent background. Yeah, so so you saw one time we can remove the white via color range, or we can remove the white background with the magic wand. The big difference is the magic wand does not find areas that is hidden somewhere, and the color range finds the white color everywhere on the image. So you see here, this is all untouched. If there would have been a white area in here with the magic wand, this would not have been selected. Very good. Okay, so let's actually go to Blender for the moment. Z, and then I go to solid view, so I don't have the rendering, or Z and material view. I would like to bring in these images, add image, but a command here is missing. So edit, preferences, and then and add-ons. Here we type in image, or it should actually be all, image, import image as plain. Perfect. Now when I go to add image, there's a new function, image as plain. And then I go to downloads. Here is, for example, my cherry tree. If I would like to see all the preview of these images, I can click this function here. And there's my cherry tree. There we are. And there is the tree. Beautiful. With S, I can, by the way, simply scale it, or I use also the scale command. And I click on the white circle. But I found the S command very easy there. I hide actually the pot. There. I can also here go into wireframe mode, so I can take a look at, is this actually well centered? In my case, it really is centered. Very good. I might want to turn these things on. Very good. Maybe this off, so I don't see the grid. Cool. Next thing. You see in every interface here, doesn't matter there or here, we can work. That's really nice. And another image as plain. This time we will bring in our body here. There you are. Hello there. And you are here. So, and this is actually the interesting part now, what we can do with this. Based on the scale. Now this looks like a huge, huge, huge building. No? So scale is actually really important. How do we figure out the scale? Well, when this is a normal door, he should kind of like fit in there. Okay, now this looks good. Then I can bring him over. I would like to rotate him. Here I press N, and then there is a rotation command. So minus 90. Okay. Or I can also type in R for rotate, then Z, then this along the Z axis, and type in 90 minus or whatever, or 180 in this case. and via minus I can flip the orientation. Oops, RZ 180 minus, or yeah, anyway, perfect. Then rip, bring this to there. And then based on where we position the person is more in the foreground or on the background, I will make it at the same level there. And now what's really nice with human figures is we can talk about the impression of a space, what's happening in the space, interactions of the space. Let's add another person. So there we are, image is plain, and I go to downloads. Here is she's missing, and now we use the same idea of the door to quickly figure out the scale. There we are. That's actually why I really like doing these things in 3D instead of doing this in Photoshop. Okay, I can do all this in Photoshop Illustrator. I just then, when I move something to the back, I need to scale them down. But you see here, I can move them forward and backwards, and they are visually scaling up or scaling down automatically. So much cooler. So she looks to the left side, RZ 180, and now she looks to the right side after I hit enter. Or you just use the rotate command, or you use the rotate tool. Really up to you. There are many roads that lead to Rome. Cool. Oh, she's really going to hit her head, actually. Yeah, this is too small. They're too big. Let's make them smaller. Back into the camera. I will go into this view here. There we are. Oh, that actually shows now. He definitely is maybe bigger. Smaller. She's bigger. That's cool. Okay. Maybe we make them even. And then I move her up and down till I see her foot touching the ground. Yeah. And then, yeah, now this can look like, are these children or are these adults? No, so the scale is actually not perfect. Where they are right now, I would like them to stay. So I go to this pivot point and say scale individual origin and S and scale. And you see then they scale right where they are. S a little bit smaller. Up and down, touching the ground. Touching the ground. Okay. And to the wall. High five. Very good. Cool. Yeah. Maybe this here we can move down a little bit more. The tree we could make bigger if we want to. Very nice. So let's see how this renders. Look at that. Now it's a much more interesting story already. There's a guy waiting. She's coming in. We can make people sit on these parts. So based on these photos we have, that's really good. Another really nice technique, or the reason why behind making these figures black, is lighting. Something that I personally find very irritating when I see architectural visualization and then the way how the people are photographed, the lighting doesn't match their rendered environment. That just doesn't fit. And by making them gray or black, you remove that problem. And also we don't really focus so much now on what's the person wearing. We just, oh, there's a human person, and via the poses we can understand what they're doing, and that's actually all what we need. Or if we want to be super crazy and we have too much time, we put in three-dimensional figures and everything. Then we can render them in 3D with the lighting affecting them. But it requires a lot of time and expertise, and I find this already is pretty cool. It's very sufficient. Okay, so this is done. Shift S to save. Best friend. Now it's time to make a rendering. We go to here, file new. And here I show basically the process. Same happens in Photoshop or Illustrator. So in case you would like to do this in Illustrator, same way. I go to print and I would like to use a letter format. Very good. 8.5 inches, and actually width should be 11 by 8.5, and the DPI 150. That means when I make this document and I print it out, I can print out this document 1-to-1 and it will be sharp, 150 DPI. If I want to take this 8.5 by 11 document and scale it up, it will get blurry because it has not enough pixels. So 150 DPI, this is good. If you're not familiar with it, PhD, Dr. Google, YouTube is perfect. Create, there we are. So now here I would like to make a nice rendering that fits right on it. Okay, so we figured out the dimension in inches, but what does this mean in pixels? I go to image size. And look at that, 1650 by 1275. So 165. Okay, back to Blender. Now we go to here. This is actually set to, oh, it's actually wider than needed. So 1650, and this was 127 something. Okay, so this actually, so the width is good, the height is too much. I can make this smaller, very nice. And I will move my camera. Yeah, I will leave the camera where it is, so I have a little bit of a white or empty surrounding, so this is good. But this is now exactly the amount of pixels I need for this image. That's perfect. Okay. Then going back to the max sample, I would like to have a nice rendering that looks not as artificial. So maybe 50 or 100. I can set this up. And again, this is also when I want to do a test layout, maybe 2 samples. So it's really bad, but we can see if it looks. And if it looks good, then we do the rendering clean. This is also a process of simply saving time. So to do this fast, I will simply set this to 2 samples. So it renders super fast. Render. And oh, we have all these other things. That is because my previous file actually crashed. So I turn all this off. Very good. There. Very nice. Cool. You see there are some leftovers from the image. It's not completely cleaned up, so you would have to do this. I don't do this in this demonstration, simply this would require a little bit more time, and I would like just to focus on kind of like this process I'm showing you here. But to clean this up, then we would now go back to our editor and then load the image. For example, open. Great. Now I'm actually showing it. Where's there? There's the cutout guy. Then I zoom in. There we are. Okay, here's the eraser tool. Right click, make this smaller, and then roop. It's actually good I show this right now because it will be something interesting I could demonstrate now. So let's say most of that stuff is cleaned up. And then we do an export. Yep. Cutout 1, Blender, and I go to here. This is actually material. There is this material. I go to open, and I think that's this one, and replace it there. So I don't import it again or move it. I simply swap out the image. There, done. Perfect, sweet. So, okay, well, it's good I showed this. Save as, and then now we do a nice rendering. Also RGBA. So we have the transparent background. There we are. Now back to here. Let's make this new document. And 11 by 8.5. 150 DPI. Create. And now I would like to bring this rendering in, so I can drag and drop this in. Sweet, there we are. And I would like to also bring in this landscape. So there we are. This landscape I can drag inside the layer below. What I'm showing here, how to work with the layers, again, every program does it the same way. That's the beauty of it. If you understood once the concept, it is super easy to apply to all programs. And I'm scaling this so I have a little bit of something over the door and also now here. Oh, there. Perfect. Cool. Yeah. There we are. Now, in case this would be in Illustrator, we could select all this, move this around. We could add some text, for example, to there for presentation purpose. But this is not the layouting video. This is just a compositing video. In case this is something we only do in Photoshop and we would want now to save this as a new image. Okay, well, let's then crop this down to what we only need. And there we are. There and there. Enter. I have to be careful. There are now white blips, as you can see there. So one more time, drawing this and to there and enter. Okay, this is better. Some more. And yeah, save, export, I mean, PNG. This is actually, good point. No, this we could actually save as JPEG because we do not have any transparent background anymore. With JPEG, don't do a low quality because the compression will be high. With JPEG, actually go 95% or something like this, because then the image won't be very, very big. Sorry, the image will be bigger, but the quality won't be impacted. So here we have this rendering. There's the project 22. Oh, look, this is 1.6 megabyte, and we shrank this down to 200 kilobytes. So quite a lot more, nearly 10 times less. Okay, that's it. That's a very quick crash course into how compositing in 3D space would work when we have an environment, which we then render, and then we put in elements like a tree or figures, and then in Photoshop, Illustrator, or whatever you would like to use, as long as it's not PowerPoint, we put in then a background, and then we can put this into a nice layout. Have a good day.